We've been asked by the Federation of Small Businesses to put the following question to you. Has Devon and Cornwall Police adopted the new definition of business crime proposed by ACPO a year ago? That's the Association of Chief Police Officers for the audience. And can you briefly describe the key features of business crime in Devon and Cornwall as a general statement?
Commissioner, thank you. Yes, we have signed up to the nationally agreed definition of business crime, which has been adopted, and we've also, on our crime system, now got ready to go in place as of May a specific flag, i.e. it highlights crimes that fit within that category in order to enable us to look at the totality of crimes, but also allowed us to compare, or you to compare us with other forces. As I say, that go-live date is planned for May, and obviously we can report back to that through our other governance arrangements to you. Already we do collect data in respect of shoplifting, burglary, non-dwelling, commercial robbery and others that one would associate with business crime in the conventional acquisitive sense. And also we look widely at all crime types. The obvious ones that you would expect were shoplifting, which you picked up, which was a trend that was picked up by the OPCC last year and was a core focus for us, and was subject last year to what we call force tactical tasking. So it doesn't just mean a local issue, it's also a force-wide issue. That which is related to cyber crime, as one would call it, or cyber phishing, attempts of fraud and fraud online, are a real growth industry. And there was a discussion at Chief Constable's Council only this month when it was accepted that most forces are still not well configured to deal with online cyber fraud or to support businesses that have been subject to online cyber fraud. But that, as I say, is a national issue. We do meet with the Federation of Small Businesses, who've highlighted their top 10 concerns as being cyber-related crime, shoplifting, their own internal matters relating to loss, their own employees, an impact on insurance premiums, rural isolation, which is up to a key issue for this force, shops and small businesses in rural areas with not a lot around. What's our response times, what's our approach? And the one that has been a key theme for you over a number of times, Commissioner, is police road closures. Each of those does receive and will receive attention going forward. I know there's a supplementary question and I'll touch on that. But also we've done some other work which is guidance to small businesses around prevention and improving better practice and better communication. That includes also DVD guidance, but there's nothing like face-to-face conversation. And I wouldn't want to go to Plymouth every time, but I know Plymouth have done particular work in respect of the commercial community, not just the large retail outlets, but the smaller ones as well.
Thank you. And the second part, which I think you may have covered, the Police and Crime Plan last year asked the force to identify those businesses that were more vulnerable to the impact of crime, and this is consistent with the inclusion of business victims in the new Victims Care Unit. What plan does the force have to meet this requirement to identify those businesses that were more vulnerable to the impact of crime?
It's been very much engaging with the businesses. So as I say, we've adopted the national direction, and our nominated single point of contact has been working with the National Business Crime Group. Now that's chaired by a chief officer from Nottinghamshire Police, so we're part of the national framework. There's an internal police work framework which is from across the geography, but we also have an external business crime forum that includes Plymouth Against Retail Crime, Exeter Business Against Crime, and the Federation of Small Businesses themselves within Devon and Cornwall. And it's anticipated the external group will grow in membership and help us identify that vulnerability. So one shouldn't assume because something's big that it's not vulnerable, or something small is vulnerable, though in the main that would be a fair rule of thumb, not least just because of turnover and a single person or a single shopkeeper will always be vulnerable if they're there on their own compared to a big superstore. Locally, there's been work with the Co-op to extend and agree good practice across Devon. And also, we've got in place now the Crime Against Business seminar, which is scheduled for the 18th of June this year, and invitations have gone out, including to the Federation of Small Businesses. In essence, the key area for us will be that cyber security issue, particularly around small businesses and online fraud, which can literally take out a business overnight. So that would be the issue. Also, within our call handling, we have an assessment system for victims of crime. It's called VIST, but it looks at vulnerability. And so not just the business, but any retailer who is calling in as a victim of crime will themselves be subject to a vulnerability assessment. So it's not just their business, it's them as an individual to look at vulnerability, because there are two aspects to that.